What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. The $600 stimulus checks are already going out. We've already had hundreds of, probably even thousands of comments from you guys in the comments saying you've already received your $600. I've had comments, people saying our family of four received $2,400. Our family of five received $3,000. Let me know if you have received your $600 check down below in the comments. I know there are some banks that are a little bit behind, a little bit delayed, where they have received the money, but they haven't processed and basically redirected the money to you. That should be happening here shortly. And of course, this is just for the first batch of direct deposits. The IRS and the Treasury said that they have already started to send out the first batch of mail checks in the mail. The check is in the mail. They have already started to send out the first batch. Of course, doesn't seem that there's any rhyme or reason to who gets the first batch and the second batch, and I will keep you guys updated on that. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below, as the push to make these checks go from $600 and just magically turn into $2,000 is underway. First, I need to update you guys on a breaking new developing story. You know, Senator Josh Hawley, the Republican senator who has been teaming up with Bernie Sanders and has been pretty much the only Republican senator really speaking out on the stimulus checks that needed to be higher. First, it was $1,200. Now he supports the $2,000 from President Donald Trump. Well, he says that he's going to challenge the Electoral College results in the Senate on January 6th. As you can see here, Senator Josh Hawley said on Wednesday, which is this morning, that he will object during Congress's counting of the electoral votes on January 6th, becoming the first Republican senator to back the effort by House conservatives. The decision by Josh Hawley would ensure a debate and a vote in the House and the Senate on the Electoral College. He says in a statement, quote, "I cannot vote to certify the Electoral College results on January 6th without raising the fact that some states, particularly Pennsylvania, failed to follow their own state election laws." He goes on to say, "And I cannot vote to certify without pointing out the unprecedented effort of the mega corporations, including Facebook and Twitter, to interfere in this election in support of Joe Biden. At the very least, Congress should investigate allegations of voter fraud and adopt measures to secure the integrity of our elections. But Congress so far has failed to act." This will be only the third time Congress has had to debate an objection since 1887, according to the Congressional Research Service. The other two times, in 1969 and 2005, were ultimately unsuccessful in changing the results of the elections in the election, and the objections were rejected. Now, remember, in addition to this fight for the $2,000 stimulus checks, the next week is going to be very, very crucial, not only because we have a new year going into 2021. Thankfully, 2020 will be over, but on January 5th, we'll decide the fate of the Senate and determine if Mitch McConnell will still be the leader of the Senate on January 5th, or if it will become the Democrats being the House majority or the Senate majority in there, and Chuck Schumer possibly taking over the Senate majority role. If Mitch McConnell loses his power, well, then everything kind of changes going forward. So that will kind of start happening on January 5th, when the Georgia runoff races, basically the two Senate seats in Georgia, will basically go up for a revote on January 5th. If both of those seats go to Democrats, there'll be a 50-50 tie in the Senate, with the tie vote going to Kamala Harris, the vice president. Of course, that's short of some miraculous kind of overturning of the Electoral College votes. The Electoral College has already certified Joe Biden as the winner. This Senate runoff race happens on January 5th. On January 6th, the very next day, is when Congress comes together to kind of certify the certification of the Electoral College. So that has never been overturned from the Electoral College. It would be kind of crazy to say that Senate and the House can just overturn all of the votes from all the states. But as you've seen Senator Josh Hawley say, there is still some concerns in some states. There's a lot of different concerns from a lot of different people. So that will happen in the next week. January 5th, Senate runoff rate determine the Senate will be still Mitch McConnell and Republicans, or if it will switch over to Democrats. And on January 6th, Congress will certify the certification of the Electoral College. Now, within the last 48 hours, we've had just breaking news story after breaking news story on the stimulus checks. Late last night, people started to get their $600 per person. In the last 48 hours, we had Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell reject both Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer's attempt to a unanimous consent vote on the $2,000 bill that has already passed the House. This bill already passed the House for $2,000 checks and $2,000 checks for dependents and $2,000 checks for adult dependents and children, literally $2,000 checks for everybody with a Social Security number and earning less than $75,000. That already passed the House with the overwhelming majority. Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders tried to introduce that as a unanimous consent vote, only to be shut down by Mitch McConnell, who then later introduced his own stimulus check bill for $2,000.
Would the senator modify his request to include a unanimous consent request that to include unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of H.R. 9051, a bill received from the House to increase recovery rebate amounts to $2,000 per individual, that the bill be read a third time and passed, the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection to the modification?
Object.
Objection is heard.
That was Mitch McConnell's objection to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who could become the Senate Majority Leader. Let's hear from Bernie Sanders trying to get the $2,000 checks on the floor.
So, Madam President, would the senator modify his request that immediately following the vote on the veto override, the Senate proceed to the consideration of H.R. 9051, that the bill be considered read a third time and the Senate vote on passage of the bill without intervening action or debate. Further, that if passed, the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection to the request for modification?
Object.
Objection is heard. Is there objection to the original?
I object.
Objection is heard.
However, since then, both Senator Bernie Sanders and Republican Senator Josh Hawley said, we need to have a vote on these $2,000 stimulus check to see if it passes or not. And we're going to object to the NDAA veto override bill. That's the National Defense Authorization Act that passed the House, passed the Senate, then went to the president. He vetoed it and said he wants to repeal Section 230. So he basically vetoed it and sent it back and said, remove Section 230 and then I'll sign it. Of course, he's got a couple other minor demands in there, but that's the majority of it. That went back to the House and they overturned his veto with a two-thirds vote. A two-thirds vote is a very considerable amount to have two-thirds or more of people say yes to a bill. They went back to the House and the House overturned President Trump's veto. That is now waiting on the Senate floor to be voted on. Mitch McConnell wants to vote on it, but since Mitch McConnell objected to voting on the $2,000 stimulus check bill, we've had both Senator Josh Hawley and Senator Bernie Sanders say that they will object to letting a vote go for the NDAA, and they will not let that happen until we vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks. Well, since then, Mitch McConnell kind of see his hand being forced, and he has now introduced his own stimulus check bill for $2,000 stimulus checks, which is absolutely a miracle to even say that Mitch McConnell has introduced his own bill for $2,000 stimulus checks. And Mitch McConnell's best hope for winning one of those two seats in Georgia is to pass these $2,000 stimulus checks. If everybody sees these $2,000 stimulus checks are being held up only by Senate Republicans, do you think they're going to vote those two Senate Republicans in those seats in Georgia? Or do you think people are going to possibly maybe say, well, maybe we should vote for Democrats instead? And that's why Mitch McConnell's best hope is to get these $2,000 stimulus checks. And that is why he has introduced his own bill. Well, that's one of the reasons why he has introduced his own $2,000 stimulus check bill. However, in this $2,000 stimulus check bill, as we went over it on the channel here, there are some significant changes to Mitch McConnell's version of the $2,000 stimulus checks. Namely, being is that one, children are only going to get $600. That's children 16 and under, which is similar to the $900 billion bill. Instead, so they're going to stay the same at $600. Adults are going to increase from $600 to $2,000, which is absolutely just amazing. Adult dependents in Mitch McConnell's bill will be left out again. They will not be receiving a check in Mitch McConnell's bill. In the bill, the Cash Act that has passed the House, adult dependents and children over the age of, so children 17, 18, college students and adult dependents and children would receive $2,000 each, along with individuals in that Cash Act. That's the one that passed the House that Mitch McConnell objected to voting on, at least so far. And that kind of brings us to the negotiations of where we are now. Of the Democrats are trying to push through the Cash Act, which is strangely the Democrats are the one trying to push it through because this is coming from President Donald Trump. This was his idea. He's obviously a Republican, and the Republicans aren't even really supporting their own president's movement for $2,000 stimulus checks. However, we now have Mitch McConnell saying he supports the $2,000, but in addition to those changes of the dependents and the children getting smaller checks, he also wants to repeal Section 230, which has been President Donald Trump's demand for several weeks now. And also, he wants to set up a committee to look into the election to basically decide if everything that happened in the 2020 election that has already passed was kind of fair and on the up and up. That's okay. The Section 230 might be a little bit hard for Democrats to swallow. So we'll have to see if Mitch McConnell puts it to a vote today on the Senate floor, or if they try to still get the Cash Act to put, or if they have to come to a negotiation between the two. The good thing is we have $2,000 stimulus checks from both Democrats, Republicans, and the president now. And Senator Josh Hawley said there is enough support to pass these $2,000 stimulus checks. Let me show you what Nancy Pelosi has to say.
To the American people, Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans. Democratic leader Schumer yesterday asked for unanimous consent to bring it up in the Senate, which was blocked by Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate. In blocking it, they are in denial of the hardship that the American people are experiencing now, health-wise, financially, in every way. Their lives and livelihood, in many cases, are on the brink. So they're in denial of that need in denying this benefit. I do hope that in the days ahead, we only have a few days left in this session, that they will see the light and understand what the suffering that is going on in our country. Now, I've said before, it's amazing to see the patience that some people have with other people's suffering. These Republicans in the Senate seem to have an endless tolerance for other people's sadness.
Strong words from Nancy Pelosi there. But remember, Nancy Pelosi herself kind of admitted to delaying the stimulus checks until after the election because of her words, now we have a new president, so now it's okay. So honestly, both sides have kind of been to blame. The good news is we have $600 stimulus checks going out, $600 stimulus checks per adult and per child. And then we also have now the push for $2,000, which surprisingly Mitch McConnell now has support for. He now has his own $2,000 stimulus check bill. It's not quite as good as the cash bill because children and adult dependents will not be receiving $2,000, but adult individuals will be receiving $2,000, which is a whole lot better than $600. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon on. Click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. We have new videos coming out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as well as tonight, 11 p.m., which is Eastern Time, which is 8 p.m. West Coast Time, because they are probably going to be voting on one or both or having bills introduced on the Senate floor today. So I will keep you guys updated with the breaking information on if they pass this bill or what is going to happen with these $2,000 stimulus checks. Don't forget to like this video, and you can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this bottom video goes over Mitch McConnell's new bill, the details of it. Watch that next also if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.